much for being here. Again, I apologize for my voice. It's horrible, so sorry. I'm Gianrico Salerno. So I'm the worldwide tech leader for supply chain and smart manufacturing in the Center of Excellence team of our automotive manufacturing IBU at AWS. So in the next 15 minutes, I will try to go through three main or major, let's say, macro use cases we are currently, let's say, discussing with our customers that are kind of top of minds for them, also for us actually as Amazon.com always. I want to also go through the path towards autonomous systems applied to supply chain, or I would say manufacturing operations, and also trying to understand how to do that, right? To have a solution that is able to do that. Then I cannot run a live demo because we don't have time actually, but we have the same demo I wanted to show at the kiosk over there in the supply chain optimization kiosk. So if you want to stop by there and dive deep, of course it's would be a pleasure for me and for us overall. So let's start, and let's start from our starting point. So our starting point is where actually we start our conversation with our customers. That is usually starting from, or at least this topic, so how we can make strategic and fast decisions and not so challenging. This is actually today's reality, and this is a starting point of our conversation because of course, making strategic decisions is hard. Why? Because the geopolitics context, so tariffs, wars, I don't know, raw material shortages, weather, whatever, right? It seems that the challenges are, let's say, compounding and layering each other. And being fast is also hard because if it's true that the data is everywhere, we have a lot of data, usually it's also true that the time to process, contextualize this data and analyze it on a timely manner when we need it is absolutely, let's say, challenging and complex. It requires time, so the time never is available. And so all the organizations that are trying to deal with this continuous pressure that is coming from external shocks and also endless changes are trying to look into one thing, that is intelligent automation. So how we can automate some of the processes. We will see some low value, high effort, very repetitive tasks that can, let's say, free up the time of our people to think about some more strategic areas of the business. And this is, so we talk with our customers, this is a kind of a supply chain Monday morning, so with a coffee in the hands and with all the challenges all around. So we try to, let's say, manage a port congestion, a custom delay, production delays, or whatever, right? It's whoa. Okay. It's all okay? Yeah. And we know that 41% of organizations take 4 or more days to solve a critical or urgent task or a urgent need. So, I mean, 4 days is a relevant amount of time. So this means that you have people that are focusing on this kind of challenge for 4 days. And why does it take so long? And the answer is that because we have manual coordination across teams and partners that are still happening. There are several processes that are still relying on spreadsheets. Even if we have ERP systems and execution systems, that we need to collect all the data from all the places, and then usually we have a lot of spreadsheets. And then the data is scattered across a fragmented system. And so usually that's not, let's say, a problem of the lack of data, but the problem is that, I was saying before, the ability to process and contextualize the data, and then having the data ready to take to make a decision. Actually, it's not only a problem, kind of an operations team problem, because if I'm in the middle. Sorry, if it's if you look at the C-suite, so the perspective of the C-suite, our, let's say, leadership, of course, every day of unpreventable disruption means loss of revenue, let's say reputational risk, customers that are disappointed. Also for the COO, for example, right, you have your teams that are working 60 to 70% of their time on repetitive manual work without, let's say, focusing on strategic things. And this means, of course, a low level of operational efficiency and also a low service levels potentially that is top of mind for an operations officer as well as for the chief supply chain officer. So the partial inventory visibility on average costs from 20 to 25% in excess stock, or worse, in stockouts. That means, of course, the risk of stop the production, or of course, a degradation of the service levels. But the good news is that we are at work to try to solve this kind of challenges. Also, with the help of our customers, we are working together actually on this. And the answer is not only to optimize the existing processes, but it's also looking into a new way and a new operating model for the organizations. And so imagine a supply chain that does not react to problems. So it anticipates them, or at least it tries to anticipate some of them. A supply chain that does not need someone to notice for anomalies, because it notices them and act on them to solve, or at least to have proposal to solve. And so we are building this kind of model with our customers. This means having autonomous and self-healing supply chains where we have AI at work 24/7, like a kind of imagine it's in the picture, like a digital nervous system that where also, the plan, observing, detecting, recommending, acting, and learning. So these kind of activities that are time-consuming are all performed and orchestrated by the agents. Of course, here we need us, people, human beings, in the loop all over, and we are in control, but we want to give to this, let's say, set of agents and to the machine the low value and high effort work to focus on strategic things. I mentioned before, right, the AI that works 24/7 for us, but what kind of AI we are talking about? We are moving, there's actually a kind of an evolution that is going on towards autonomous systems. So we are moving from Gen AI, generative AI, to agentic AI. So when I talk with our customers, there's the thing is, okay, but also agents are somehow generative AI, right? Because they have large language models behind. And their answer is that yes, but we have more technology around the agentic AI now that can actually allow us to have a machine that execute a process for us with more, let's say, precise results, being more deterministic. And that's why we can then, of course, apply this technology to our businesses. And so from AI that assists to AI that executes. So with Gen AI, just to compare, right, we have the system is like I'm asking a question, and then I get an answer, and then I need to decide what to do with that answer. It's powerful. I have insights, but then it's still reactive. So I need to decide what to do then. With agentic AI, you have a system that constantly monitors your supply chain and your manufacturing operations in general. It identifies anomalies. It also plans for a solution or a resolution, and then propose several actions to be taken in order for us to be faster in then deciding and solving this kind of issues. And I was last week in a conference with a customer and also with with a consulting firm, and a couple of points were made very interesting. So one was that during these, let's say, days of historical moment, we are seeing that in Europe, but also in US, there are a lot of investments that are going in direction of, let's say, increasing the military defense. So the question mark is how much money will, let's say, be available for companies to innovate, right, in the next, let's say, at least 5 years. And then the second is that the European Commission, as you all know probably, foresees that by 2050, nearly 30% of the Europe's population will be aged 65 or over, while the working age population will continue to decline or at least to shrink. And so this means that these imbalances will cause, for sure, some, let's say, consequences. One is labor shortages. So we will have probably less people compared to the ones that we will need. And that's where, let's say, agentic AI applied to supply chains and also physical AI for manufacturing operations will help us to go through these challenges. And so this leads to a kind of fundamental change or shift in how teams are, let's say, organizing their work on a daily basis. And back to the beginning of this, let's say, 15 minutes, I was saying probably now we have the opportunity to invert this, let's say, value triangle. So this, effort value triangle. This means that now we are living in a kind of a paradox, right? I have a lot of customers I'm talking with during these days, but also in, let's say, the previous week, the previous months. So they are saying I need to, let's say, optimize my working capital. I need to, let's say, optimize my logistics. And, why you are not already there, right? And the answer is that because all of us are focused on low value, high effort, repetitive tasks every day, fighting the challenges that we have, and we are not, let's say, able to prevent the future, the tomorrow's ones, right? So we want to give to these, let's say, machines the ability to perform for us low value, high repetitive, and, let's say, manual work, so we can focus on, let's say, more strategic kind of, let's say, thinking and finding new solutions for that. And so we can, of course, increase revenues, better customer experience, lower risks, throughput increased, right? Whatever we can imagine can come from this. But how can I build a system that can actually do this? And the system is this is a kind of a diagram. Then we have the live demo on the kiosk, as I said before, and basically we have at the center we have the A2A operating system, so the agent-to-agent operating system. This is the digital nervous system I was mentioning before. This kind of operating system that is orchestrating all the agents and all the work these agents can do for us. And then as a foundational pieces, we have the digital twin for the of course, supply chain and manufacturing operations in general. We have data sharing and collaboration, so we want to be effective in sharing data with external trading partners and internal parties. We want also to apply mathematical models and solvers where our supply chain requires this kind of capabilities fast and quickly. We want to have also specialized tools like machine learning, specific capabilities like, for example, demand forecasting executed with machine learning and AI. Some protocols embedded into this kind of operating system to allow us to have agents able to call external systems and, let's say, query external systems, as well as understanding how to talk each other between and among agents. And also, last but not least, the ability to integrate with your physical movement of goods, so with the physical logistics infrastructure. And to close, we are on time. these are the three main areas we are discussing with our customers, and we see value on them. So the first one is inventory proactive control means the complete, let's say, inventory optimization with agents and of course AI power that can help us prevent shortages, excess of stock, and also looking into opportunities to rebalance or keep the inventory balanced, so meaning that we can potentially transfer inventory from one side to another, of course, because we have, let's say, increased visibility across the inventory, like a logical, I finished, a logical view of that. And then in the middle, there's the ability to reroute and optimize the routing, the logistics, with so lowering the costs and also increasing the service levels. And these are three main areas, I think, that are, let's say, working a lot on costs, service levels, and also working capital. As said before, there's a live demo there. If you're interested, we can, let's say, go and be deeper. And then with that, I want to thank you so much
No,
for your
thank you.
attention.